President Trump made a rare appearance on a non-Fox News program. And you can tell that he was tired because at times he actually made sense.
Would you let your son, Barron, play football?
It's a very tough question. It's a very good question. If he wanted to, yes. Would I steer him that way? No, I wouldn't.
Why?
I just don't like the reports that I see coming out having to do with football. I mean, it's a dangerous sport. I really think that as far as well, I've heard NFL players saying they wouldn't let their sons play football. So it's not totally unique, but I would have a hard time with it.
That's right. Trump doesn't want his son to have brain damage, which is strange because usually fathers want their children to follow in their footsteps. But that was a thoughtful response from the president, and really different from how he usually talks about football.
Today, if you hit too hard, right? They hit too hard, 15 yards, throw him out of the game. They had that last week. I watched for a couple of minutes, and two guys just really beautiful tackle. Boom, 15 yards. The referee gets on television. His wife is sitting at home. She's so proud of him. They're ruining the game. Used to see these tackles, and it was incredible to watch, right? Now they tackle. Oh, head-on-head collision. 15 yards. The whole game is all screwed up. Football's become soft like our country has become soft. It's true.
It's true, folks. Totally true, folks. And what's the deal with seatbelts? Back in my day, you went straight through the windshield, into the other guy's car, and that's how you made friends. Fun fact, that's how I met Rudy Giuliani. But basically what Trump is saying is that he's cool with other kids playing football, but he doesn't want his little guy hurting his brain. Safety first. And if he had it his way, football would be even more dangerous. Yeah, there'd probably be coconuts getting dropped on the players' heads, a ball that just bursts into flames at random times, a mid-game purge. For the next 5 minutes, all crime is legal between the 20 and 50-yard lines. Now, Trump didn't just make football news this weekend. He also commented on the other violent crisis threatening Americans, Syria. You see, the president wants to pull out so that he's not stuck paying support for years. He knows how this goes. And a lot of senators led by Mitch McConnell are worried that if America pulls out of Syria, ISIS could regain power. But luckily, the commander-in-chief has that figured out.
You could, in that vacuum, see a resurgence of ISIS, see a resurgence of terror groups like Al-Qaeda.
We'll come back if we have to. We have very fast airplanes. We have very good cargo planes. We can come back very quickly.
I love that his rationale is we have very fast airplanes. We can just go back. Like America can just jump back into Syria. Like a mom checking on her son to see if he's doing drugs in his room. Just like, okay, ISIS, we're going now. Bye-bye. Aha! But believe it or not, his views on football and Syria weren't the biggest Trump news of the weekend. No, the story everyone was talking about was this.
Axios says a White House source leaked President Trump's private schedule from the last 3 months. It indicates he has spent about 60% of his time in unstructured executive time. Axios sources say much of that is spent in his private residence, watching TV, reading the papers, and phoning aides and other people. In response, Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says while the president spends much of his average day in scheduled meetings, events, and calls, there is time to allow for a more creative environment.
A more creative environment? That is not cool, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You're supposed to be defending the president, not making him sound like he spends all morning in a Montessori preschool. He spends time in a more creative environment. Because now I'm just picturing Trump in his briefings like, the dog goes quack, the dog goes woof, ISIS goes boom, and the Donald goes no collusion. Now, predictably, many people were upset at the news that the president spends nearly 2/3 of his day not doing anything. They think he should be working hard in the Oval Office, studying policy, military strategy, really tackling the nation's problems head on. But I'll be honest, I disagree. Because, it's not his place. Basically, what I'm saying is, I'm cool with other presidents working hard, but I don't want my little guy hurting his brain. Safety first.